October 1973. The Middle East was on fire. While armies clashed across the Sinai Desert and the Golan Heights, a quieter revolution was about to unfold at sea, one that would permanently change naval warfare. Off the coast of Syria, near the port city of Latakia, two fleets were moving toward each other in darkness. They would never see one another clearly. They would never exchange gunfire at close range. They would never fight like navies had fought for centuries. This battle would be decided by electronics, deception, and guided missiles. And when it ended, one fleet would cease to exist. For most of history, naval power meant size. Big ships, thick armor, heavy guns. Battleships dominated oceans. Cruisers enforced empires. Destroyers screened fleets. Victory belonged to whoever could put the most steel on target. But by the early 1970s, something fundamental had changed. Missiles had replaced guns. Electronics had replaced eyesight. Speed had replaced armor. The Battle of Latakia would be the first time these truths were tested in real combat, and the results would shock the world. The Yom Kippur War erupted on October 6, 1973, when Egyptian and Syrian forces launched a coordinated surprise attack against Israel. On land, Israel fought for survival. In the air, dogfights raged nonstop. At sea, the stakes were no less critical. If Syria could threaten Israel's coastline or disrupt maritime supply routes, the balance of the war could shift dramatically. Latakia, Syria's primary naval base on the Mediterranean, became a key objective. Israel decided to strike first. Syria's naval force was built around Soviet doctrine. Its core consisted of missile boats, fast attack craft of the OSA and Komar classes, armed with the fearsome P-15 Styx missile. The Styx was terrifying on paper. Range, up to 46 kilometers, large warhead, designed to destroy ships in a single hit. It had already proven itself in 1967 when an Egyptian Styx missile sank the Israeli destroyer Elat. To the Syrians, missile range meant dominance. Whoever fired first would win. Israel's navy looked unimpressive by comparison. Smaller ships, shorter-range missiles, no heavy armor. Its SAR-class missile boats were armed with the Gabriel missile, which had a range of only 20 kilometers, less than half that of the Styx. On paper, Israel was outmatched. But Israel was not relying on firepower. It was relying on technology, training, and deception, and above all, electronic warfare. Israel possessed a secret advantage that would define the battle. Its missile boats were equipped with advanced jamming systems, radar decoys, and chaff launchers, clouds of aluminum strips designed to confuse enemy missile guidance. Israeli crews trained obsessively for missile combat, detecting launches, identifying missile tracks, activating countermeasures within seconds. They knew something their opponents did not. Missiles could be fooled. And if missiles could be fooled, range meant nothing. On the night of October 6th to 7th, 1973, 5 Israeli missile boats left port and headed north toward Latakia. They knew the danger. To fire their Gabriel missiles, they would have to cross more than 20 kilometers of open water, a deadly zone where Syrian ships could launch Styx missiles at will. For several minutes, the Israeli vessels would be defenseless. This was not bravery. It was calculation. Israeli commanders believed that if they survived the first missile volley, the battle was already won. Shortly after midnight, radar screens lit up. Syrian vessels had detected the Israeli formation. Moments later, missile warnings sounded. The Syrians fired first. Styx missiles roared off their launch rails, streaking low over the black Mediterranean, guided by radar toward the Israeli ships. This was the moment everything hinged on. From the Israeli decks, the missiles were invisible. There was no flash, no explosion, only alarms and radar tracks closing fast. Israeli crews reacted instantly. Jammers activated. Chaff launched. Decoys deployed. The sea filled with false targets. Missiles swerved. Lost lock. Chased ghosts. One by one, the Styx missiles splashed harmlessly into the water, detonating far from their intended targets. The impossible had just happened. Israel had survived the danger zone. Now the balance shifted. Israeli boats surged forward, closing the distance rapidly. At 20 kilometers, launch orders were given. Gabriel missiles ignited and raced toward Syrian ships. Unlike the Styx, the Gabriel was designed for precision. Lower altitude, better guidance, harder to detect. Within minutes, Explosions tore through Syrian vessels. An OSA-class boat erupted in flames. Another vanished in a fireball. A Komar-class craft broke apart and sank. Syrian crews had no effective countermeasures. They were fighting a war they did not understand. As the engagement continued, Syrian ships attempted to flee toward port. Israeli missiles followed. By dawn, 2 OSA-class missile boats destroyed, 2 Komar-class missile boats sunk, 1 minesweeper eliminated. Israel suffered 0 losses. The Syrian navy around Latakia had been annihilated in a single night. The Battle of Latakia sent shockwaves through military circles worldwide. For the first time in history, a naval battle was fought entirely with missiles. Electronic warfare defeated superior range. Training overcame raw firepower. Every navy took notice. From the United States to the Soviet Union, doctrines were rewritten. Gun-based fleets were obsolete. Electronic warfare was no longer optional. Missile combat was the future. Latakia was not just a victory. It was a warning. In less than 1 hour, centuries of naval tradition were rendered obsolete. Steel did not decide the battle. Range did not decide the battle. Numbers did not decide the battle. Information did. And in the darkness off the Syrian coast, the future of naval warfare was born.